Got you. Good morning, Sandra. Can you hear me now? You should be able to because I can now. I unmuted my mic. Ugh. Yeah, my brain. It's been a morning already, but it's okay. Um, oh my word. Why are all the things happening at one time? Substack, you saw it. Nope. I'm gonna post in the Discord yesterday. The Substack I wrote in last week, I believe, before I went to the beach. Hey, what's up, Sin? Hey, Renee. Hey, Perry Jean. Good to see you guys. Folks, listen, if you are new to my live, do me a favor, put a one in the comments. If you're new to the live, put a one in the comments so that I know you have a city emergency meeting tomorrow. Yep, I just came on, Christine. Just came on. Hey, Frankie, good to see you. I know, Sandra, dear Lord in heaven, I swear, like, well, in my like defense, I have been going for a long time already today, and I was adulting, and then, all the different things. Yeah, so hey John, good to see you. Yeah, so I do want to talk about what happened yesterday. I want to kind of come back to some of the things that we talked about yesterday as well. Yeah, I was back yesterday and it was good to be back. Have missed you guys. Thanks, coolest mom ever. This was a gift from one of my best friends and one of the most incredible people on the planet. I was gifted this shirt after I walked with them in Pride, their Pride parade. I think, oh, maybe 3 years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember exactly. Good morning, Alice. Um, so yeah, so I'm glad to see everybody. Hopefully, you folks that are over on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else, Substack, that's the other place that you guys say hello in the comments because that's the only way that I will see that you are here. You had a bad car wreck. Oh my gosh, Sandra. Hope you are healing better and getting well quickly and hopefully with as little pain as possible. What's up? The cues are coming. How are you? Folks, listen, I expect that we may be greeted by some trolls today. That's fine. I'll handle them when I'm done handling them. I'll let you know when to go ahead and take care of things if that needs to happen. Yeah, Laura, let's learn some shit, right? Hello, Rosalind. Good to see you. Good morning. But I do want to talk. We're just going to talk facts like we usually do here in this space. Some people aren't comfortable with facts, and that's okay, right? You don't have to be comfortable with facts, but I'm still going to give them to you anyway. I'm still going to tell you what they are. If you disagree with them, you are more than welcome to join the panel and talk. Even if you do agree and you've got something to say, you are welcome to request up to the panel and be part of the conversation as well. I don't do debates in this space. What I do in this space is have productive, meaningful conversations that may challenge your comfort zone, may challenge your belief systems, but hopefully done in a way that we can all be respectful in and that we can all appreciate and grow. Like that is the objective. Hey, Ella, good to see you. What's up, Chef Ryan? So that's what we do. Yeah, TikTok is a little wild. So all of those things. Um, Sadie, I don't think you mean that the GDP is 3%. Because if that's the case, we'd be sucking ass right about now. I think you may be trying to refer to inflation. Hey, Tony, good morning. Whew. This is how we're going to start the day, I see. Hey, Dax, how are you? What's up, Candy Kiss? Um, for those of you guys who are not on TikTok, somebody just came in and said the GDP is 3%, exclamation point, Trump's winning, exclamation point, exclamation point. And I thought, if the GDP is 3%, we're fucked. And I think she was trying to talk about inflation, I think, which by the way, it was like 2%, 2.3% this time last year under Joe Biden. So you do? Okay. Will you ask Auntie Bree if she can grab it for you? So what you're saying is that the economy grew at a 3% rate in the second quarter. That's what you're trying to say? Yeah. I know what she's trying to say. No, what she's saying is that there's the headline says that the GDP grew at that the economy grew at 3%. So it's GDP growth. The GDP itself is not 3%. No, Sadie, I'm not slow. As you can see, I just know how to read, and I read to interpret, and to comprehend. Um, not like take a headline and run to TikTok and say things that I don't understand. That's the difference, right? So the GDP had a 3% growth, right? And that's after we reversed some of our trade decisions. That's what you mean. Yeah, Sandy got mad because I checked her. That's why. And that's okay. She can be mad. If Sandy really wants to see if I'm slow or not, go ahead and join the panel. Let's do that, Sandy. We'll see how slow you think I am. Yeah. Appreciate it, Mom, with goals. All right. Hey, Tony, I'm not sure I said hello to you or not, but good morning. What's up, Nurse August? Good to see you guys. So I appreciate you guys coming in and doing the heart me's. Yeah, I did see the injunction on the tariffs. We are going to talk about a lot of things. Oh, great, Dylan. I love that. I'm glad you heard some great things about this space. So for those of you guys who weren't here yesterday, we dug into a lot of court documents. If you have followed me for any length of time, you know I'm a fan of legal documents. I'm a fan of all of those types of things. It's really important. Yeah, Amy, I did. I took my oldest daughter and I took the grands to the beach, and so I was back yesterday. What's up, David? Hey, Tim Ratliff, good to see you. So yesterday we did a lot of court documents. I'm gonna do. Thanks, Renee. I'm gonna do a brief recap on that because there are important things that we went over yesterday that where we connected some serious dots that need to be connected. Having said that, based on the vote that occurred yesterday in the Senate, we need to go over the other court documents that we've previously gone over with regard to Erez Raveni, Emil Bove, and all of those different types of things. We also need to take a look at the folks who, what's up, Witch? Good morning. Take a look at the folks who voted to confirm him. And then we've got to talk about what does it mean when the GOP is corrupt? What does it mean when our DOJ is compromised? In my opinion, it means it's all down to the people at this point. It is 100% down to the people. And so what does that mean? Do you just stop contacting them? No, you absolutely keep the pressure on them. And in the meantime, what you do is you make a plan. And so I have asked this before, and I'm going to ask it again. If there are any of you that are considering running for your local offices or your state offices, you need to be making that decision and making it soon. And if you have issues, if you have things that are, hey, Nancy D, if you have things that you're like, oh, I just don't know if I can run because I was crazy in my 20s, or I had an AB, or, I don't have a lot of money or whatever, right? Then we can talk about those things as well. Liberty Lover, be my guest. Come on up here and let's talk about that. So Liberty Lover on TikTok is saying that the DOJ was compromised under the Biden administration. What I would love to invite you to do is to have you come up to the panel. We can discuss that particular comment. And then we can talk about the facts and the evidence that may or may not support what you're saying. So you're welcome to join. I invite you to do that right now. What's up, Doug? Good morning. So listen, the way that it works in this space, if you are new to this space, let me share with you how I do things. Okay. Number one, I ask that everybody be respectful. Number two, I ask that you do not use slurs of any kind. I don't care what side of the aisle you are from. We don't call people names here, and we don't use slurs of any kind. You'll be muted or booted. Number three, don't spam my comments. If you got something to say it once. Don't say it 5, 6, 7, 8 times, because that's not productive. And number four, do not type in all caps. All caps are reserved for my moderators and my folks that are vision impaired. So those are 4 very simple guidelines, right? Everyone should be able to do those things because we're all adults here. What's up, Conchita? And so if you can do that, then we're going to be able to have a good conversation today. Okay. So Liberty Lover, I'm still waiting for you. I see you made a comment, and then I haven't heard anything from you since I invited you to the panel. Folks, listen, if you're going to come in here and you're going to make an allegation, if you're going to make a claim, I'm going to invite you to join the panel to verbally discuss the allegation or the claim that you have made. I'm going to ask you what evidence and facts you have to back up the things that you say. Why am I going to do that? Because it's what I do every day. If I tell you something, right? If I say something to you, I'm going to back it up with facts and with evidence. So if I hold myself to that standard, I'm going to hold everyone else to that standard as well. Got it? So if you're not prepared to talk about facts, if you're not prepared to talk about like real substance and evidence, then I'm probably not the space that you want to hang out in. Okay? Probably not. Okay? So so just going to offer that to you right off the bat, right? And what I'm going to go ahead and do and start taking out the trash really early today. And there we go. There goes Spleaky. Out of the way. Out of the way. Oof. Good morning, Sheila. How are you? Yes, Cam, I did. Sheila, good morning. Did you mean to request up?
Yes.
Good morning. How are you? What you got for me this morning? Sheila?
Can we help ourselves?
What do you mean by that? You're welcome, Robert D. Sheila? Yeah, Sheila, you can talk. If you talk, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Rhonda, be nice.
How we can help ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, in what way are you talking about?
In my little community, how do I keep the GOP out of my schools and out of our government in our little town?
Yeah, so the ways that you
already broken. They already got rid of the black kids out of school. They took away all the cheap housing.
Mhm.
So this is a little town in Ohio. We're red. The people here are horrible. I live in a little town called Garrettsville, and I call it the home of the KKK.
Gotcha. So yeah, on TikTok, make sure you say triple K because TikTok will get me. That's okay. So there are lots of things that you do in your little town, right? So number one, how many people do you know in your community who feel like you do about the state of your town, the state of your community, the state of your so you know
even the mayor. So it's all of us, but there's so many laws they already put in there that we have to break all of what they've already done.
Yeah. So there's things that can happen on a local level, like from your actual like city council or your county commissioner or any of those things. Constance Pink, I don't think that she voted for Trump. Constance, she didn't say that she voted for Trump. Yeah, she didn't vote for Trump. But the other things is also finding who are your candidates that are running for local office. You want local office, you want state legislature, all of those things. And then start in so we talk about our circles in this live a lot, right? Hey, Brandon, Market Flow. You're spamming my comments and you're waiting on my panel. So stop spamming my comments and then we can have a conversation, okay? It's not your turn yet. Hold on. It's not your turn. It is not your turn. It's not your turn. Yeah, Brandon, it's not your turn. All right. So listen, we want to focus on the people that are in our communities and the people that are in your circles, right? So your folks that are in the folks that you know that are on your PTA, the folks that you know that they belong to the same communities, they go to the same events, they might go to okay, I can't. I'm just taking out trash early today. Yeah, Marky, he's already gone. But those are the things, Sheila. It's having really important conversations. And the way that you want to do it is with information that matters to people. So do you know what congressional district you're in?
No, I don't.
Okay. So let's take a look. Give me just a second. He's completely blocked now.
Ravenna is the kind of the state place we go to. That's where our courthouse is in Portage County.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to bait anything today because
We had a cop over here that was writing down the names of people that had Kamala's posters out, so he could go to their house. The ICE could go to their house, and that's what the cops are doing here in Ravenna.
Gotcha. So have you contacted your state ACLU?
Huh?
Have you contacted your state ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union of Ohio? Every state has their own ACLU office. Have you contacted those folks?
No.
I would recommend doing so. Sometimes they can give you guidance on how to do those things. They can give you information that might be relevant to your area. You might find out about court cases that they are doing that impact your community. And what I would be doing when I'm having conversations is I wouldn't be saying to people, Trump sucks, even if we think he does, right? Because I do think that. And I think that based on not that he's a Republican, but I think that about him as an individual and as a president and as a commander in chief. That's my personal belief based on his track record. Okay. But what I would do is I would talk to them about the impact that legislation that's been passed is going to have on them. Right. So looking at the loss of folks that have Medicaid and that have SNAP benefits and things like that in Ohio, you can actually talk to people. Let me see if I can pull it up for you really quickly. For those of you all who don't know, this is in my link tree and readily available to you. But let me see if I can't pull it up really quickly for you. Yes, baby. Yes. Will you ask Auntie Bree if she'll get it for you, sis? Or bring it to me so I can pour it. All right. So yeah, I'm going to bring it up for you real quick. So when I look at Ohio, all right, and I'm just going to kind of run through a few of the different congressional districts. And so what you want to do, Sheila, is Coolest Mom Ever says you can find her. She says, Sheila, you can direct message me and she'll give you some groups to join or a place to start. Also, there's also, oh my gosh, what are they called? Radical, oh my gosh. Fighting the Radical Right Ohio. That's another Facebook organization. But so check this out. So in Ohio, in Congressional District 1, about 24,000 people are estimated to lose their health insurance coverage between now and 2034, thanks to that big barbaric bill that they passed. They're going to lose their Medicaid benefits, their health insurance. In Congressional District 2, that number is 30,000. In Congressional District 3, that number is 28,000, right? So what I've been doing is finding out what these numbers look like, find out what counties belong in those districts, and then finding out how many people in each of those counties are actually on Medicaid. And then it becomes real for people. If you can look at a county and say, hey, there's 10,000 people in this county that are on Medicaid, right? And there are 7 counties in this district. And in this district, 25,000 people are expected to lose their health insurance coverage in the next 9 years because of this bill. Then that matters to people. And you have to talk about it in a way that makes it real for people and it hits home for them so they know how it's going to impact them directly. Hey, sissy, you want to take this back and put the lid back on it? Does that make sense, Sheila?
Yes, it does.
So
But I'm terrible. I can't deal with the Trump person, not even to talk to him a little bit.
Yeah, well,
I lose I can't. They sound so stupid. I can't hardly answer them, even though I know the answer.
yeah. So here's my thing is I have to remember to meet people where they are if I want them to come where I'm at.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
right?
And
We just have to get past that. So here's the thing. All Trump supporters are not stupid. Many of them are very smart. The thing is that they have been given misinformation. Literally, you guys, he's been running for office for a decade. For 10 years, they have been believing the wrong things. For 10 years, somebody has been feeding them false narratives every time you turn around. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so that's the thing that people have to really think about is this isn't a short-term thing. It has taken 10 years to get us where we are. So that means it's going to take us more than a 10-minute conversation to build connection and to even open the door in terms of communication. And so that's our responsibility to do. You know what I mean?
yes.
Yep. And so that's how we do it.
My daughter tells me it all the time. I will try. And I thank you.
Yeah, you are more than welcome. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming up. Have a good one.
I appreciate you too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. So listen, folks. Yeah, it has been, yes, babe. Yeah. It has been 10 years. Do you all realize that it has been 10 years of consistent and I was having a conversation right before I went live with someone where we talk about a pre-narrative, right? It is preemptively putting out a false narrative so that by the time the true narrative comes out, nobody believes it, nobody knows what to believe, nobody knows whatever, and they have been doing that a lot. Hey, facts people, what's up, Heather? Good morning, everybody. Thank you guys for joining. Facts folks, good to see you guys. Hey, facts people. So if you guys don't already follow Facts Still Matter, Steve and the folks over there are absolutely fantastic. And they are typically on, I want to say at 8 a.m. in the morning. So they are on before I am. So welcome, Fact folks. Appreciate you guys for jumping on over and rating me today and getting in on the conversation. So I want to ask just a couple of different things. This is going to help me know how much to recap. What's up, G Weber? So everyone, well, I don't know that everyone knows. How many of you all are not familiar with the name Emil Bovey? How many of you guys aren't familiar with that name? How many of you all aren't aware that the Senate passed his confirmation last night and put him to a lifetime appointment on the appellate court? You're not. Okay. This is the part that I wish the media did a better job of this. Oh my gosh, I wish the media did a better job of this. Okay, listen. So I have been talking about this for about this is the third week, I think. Hey, Steve, thank you guys for rating. I appreciate it, right? And so the reason I have the GOP is corrupt up today is because they did vote 50-49 to confirm Emil Bovey as a lifetime appointment to the appellate court, right? You don't know, Tony? I got you. Very corrupt. And here's the thing that matters. I am so tired of hearing people say things like, um, the Republican Party is the party of law and order. The Republican Party is the party of the rule of law. It's absolute bullshit. And everything that they are doing these days is evidence of that fact. This is not me giving my quote unquote liberal take on something. This is the evidence that they are showing you every day in their behavior. And I just want you all to kind of get the picture. So you have an individual who 3 whistleblowers have come out in the last 30 days, even with an audio recording of this man who was the deputy principal assistant attorney general, right, for the Department of Justice. And he says to a group of Department of Justice attorneys, you all might have to say to the federal courts, fuck you, and ignore court orders. That's pretty much as lawless as it gets. That's as lawless as it gets. There are text messages and emails to back this up that show this to be factually accurate. And GOP senators last night confirmed this man to a lifetime appointment in the Third Circuit Appellate Court. I don't want to hear anyone tell me that they're interested in justice. I don't want anyone to tell me that they're interested in the rule of Trump and the rule of law, right? Because that is corruption at the highest level. And it is going to it's going to have long-term consequences, folks. Let me just tell y'all something. Everybody keeps saying Trump, 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 Trump. And don't get me wrong, he's a problem. However, if you're going to ask me who's the biggest threat between Donald Trump and Emil Bovee, guess who the fuck it is? It is not. It is not Donald Trump. Yep, it was a 50 to 49 vote. So you ask me, well, what hope do we have? I will tell you what hope that we have. What has to happen beyond a shadow of a doubt, right? Beyond a shadow of a doubt is the Democratic Party must win back the Senate next year at the midterms. It has to happen. That is the only way you will have the ability to impeach this federal judge. It is the only way that you will be able to refer action to the DOJ in order to get something to happen. It is the only way that we will be able to right this ship. The House and the Senate, it has to happen, especially the House. Especially the Senate. Jen, come talk to me about Democrats being corrupt. I sent you an invitation. I would love to have a respectful conversation with you about your opinion. What's up, Carrie? Carson, I don't know how Biden's health is. I hope that his health is as good as Donald Trump's is. I hope that Donald's ankles are getting taken care of. What's my thought? So somebody on Facebook wants to know, what's my thoughts on the narrative of Obama going around right now? I don't have any thoughts about it. My thoughts is that it's an attempt at a distraction, which isn't working. People are still very much wanting to know about Trump's relationship with Epstein. My thoughts are that the CIA put out an intelligence report in 2017, not just the Senate Intelligence Committee, but the CIA. And the FBI put out their own reports regarding Russia and the 2016 election. And so I think, it's a nice try. I think that they would love to be able to blame something on Obama. And then my very last thought, AJ, is I don't give a fuck because he has presidential immunity. Thank you, Donald Trump. That's my thought. Holy geez. You gotta love it, right, folks? So let me see. Donna Bates says, it sounds like you're being very disrespectful to the law because you people. Well, Donna, my first question to you is, who's you people? That's what I will ask you first. When you can define you people to me, Donna, then I'll answer your question. Guys, you got to be careful with your language because I'm going to call a thing. Like right there. Hey, Lowell, welcome. I'm glad Facts Referred. Appreciate it. Yeah. The first thing that Donna said is, it sounds like you're being very disrespectful to the law because you people. Well, you need to tell me who the fuck you people is. Let me start there. Sorry, y'all. Occasionally I do match energy. And I do drop F-bombs. So yeah. Let me go ahead and I'm going to read the rest of this comment for you guys, and then I'm going to address it in full. Got it? So this is Donna Bates. Thanks, Kira. Appreciate that. This is Donna Bates' comment coming from Facebook. It sounds like you're being very disrespectful to the law, which I don't even understand how you're disrespectful to the law. The law is like a regulation, right? But anyway, because you people, don't know who the fuck that is, don't want no long. Wait a minute. I'm going to try to read it. Because you people don't want no long without law. I don't know what that means. Don't want no long without law. I don't know. Don't want no long without law. There's no order without order. There is no law. We have to have them both. That's why it's called the scales of justice. I think you mean scales of justice. It's a very long run-on sentence, and so I'm trying to decipher it. And you need to stop bashing the president. Even when the last president was in, I didn't like the stuff that he did. So you know what? We all combine and cry and boohoo, but the economy is starting to get better again, just like it was the last past 4 years before he got back into office. You need to stop your ludicrousy. That's just one woman's opinion, but my opinion might be okay. You are absolutely right that it is just one person's opinion, and you are entitled to have that opinion, right, Donna? You can absolutely have that opinion. What I prefer is to have an opinion that is based in fact. I always find that to be helpful, right? I find it to be helpful when I have an opinion that is based in fact, right? So let's start with fact number one. Calling out actions and deeds and words that the president says that are inaccurate, that are harmful, that are lies. That's not bashing the president. That is called accountability. So bashing the president would be if I was talking about his hair plugs or his orange face or his cankles or his if I was bashing him, I'd be talking about his diapers and falling asleep in meetings. Like that would just be bashing. But I'm not talking about any of those things. And I'm only mentioning them now so that you understand what bashing is. Okay. I'm not bashing him when I talk about the bill. I'm not bashing him when I talk about his nomination for the Department of Justice. I'm not bashing him, right, when I'm talking about actual court documents. That's not bashing. That's accountability. There's a difference between those two things. And it doesn't matter if I like him or I don't like him. Joe Biden wasn't my first pick as president for 2020, right? But guess what? He did a hell of a damn job. And there was a lot of meaningful legislation that would have been so good for this country had Donald Trump not undid so much of it. The things that you see improving right now, Donna, are improving because of the Inflation Reduction Act. They are improving because of the Chips and Science Act. They are improving because of all of the things that Joe Biden did during his administration. Because the way that it works is you don't build up an economy and you don't rebound a country in 150 days. That doesn't happen. Okay. It takes longer than that. Now you can tank an economy pretty quick. It doesn't take any time. The same way, let me just say this, the same way, Donna, you can overdraw your bank account with one bad check, right? But to get out of that hole takes much longer. And it's the same way that it works with the United States of America and our economy and our bank account, right? So the things that you see improving, like Texas having a stable damn grid right now, that is because of Joe Biden, not because of Greg Abbott or Donald Trump. Neither of those things, right? So that's what we have to begin to understand. If we want to talk about facts, then it's good. Or if we want to have an opinion that is respected. So let me just say this. I respect everyone's right to have an opinion. That does not mean that I have to respect the opinion that you have, especially if your opinion is not rooted in fact and instead is based on fuckery and fiction. I don't have to respect that opinion. Just to be clear. Fact-based opinions get respect. Fuckery and fiction opinions get nothing. Just so that we're clear. I hope that helped. She's leaving now. Listen, I am not mad that you are. So listen. So Donna Bates, when you say you're dyslexic and you're using speak to spell, got that. Fine. I can work with that. You people has nothing to do with being dyslexic. And when you try to clear it up and you say you people is all of us people that live in the United States of America, that's not true, because you specifically were talking about a different group of people. So while I can say, hey, I get it, you're dyslexic, I would never be rude to someone who has a learning difference. I would never be rude to that. The reason you got the attitude from me that you got was the you people. And that has nothing to do with being dyslexic. That has to do with your state of mind and the way that you look at people. Because I don't refer to people and say you people. So if you want to stick around, you are welcome to stick around. I would just suggest listening instead of making assumptions if you don't know what you're talking about. And just a recommendation, I wouldn't use the words you people when you're talking to folks. I'm not doing, listen, here's what I'm not doing. I'm not doing jump in the comments, be disrespectful and fucking rude. And then when I come back, then all of a sudden you're a victim. I'm not doing that, folks. I am not doing that. It is not my fault that you touched the stove and did not check to see if it was hot. I'm not doing that. So I just want to be clear. Nope. Everybody here is grown. And that means you have to be accountable for the things you say and the way that you say it. So again, if you have dyslexia, never, ever, ever would have an issue with that. And I can manage a run-on sentence, right? The you people, though, is how you popped off. And that's why you got what you got. So just saying, I just did, Cam. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, I'm just not. Listen, we are in a time, I don't think that people understand this. We are in a time that is much greater, that is much bigger, that is much deeper than do I like Donald Trump? This is not about do I like him? I didn't like his ass before he ran for president. And I didn't like him before he ran for president because of how he treated women. Because I actually looked up those things before then. I didn't like his ass because he was racist. My entire family in New York knows about Donald Trump and who he would and wouldn't rent to. My family has lived in Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx my entire life. Right? So I've known who Donald Trump is before he ever ran for office. So that's him as a person that I don't like. Now, when we talk about why I don't like him as a president, that's a different thing. And I can talk about that as well. Just to be clear, I never watched The Apprentice. I never bought The Art of the Deal. I never did any of those things because I have discernment. And I can see an asshole from a mile away. Just saying. Right. New York knows who he is. Period. So does Jersey. Everybody in Atlantic City knows who he is. Everybody in Vegas knows who he is. I disagree, Chrissy A, and I would love to have a conversation with you about that. Chrissy A says both sides are corrupt. One side is not better or more virtuous over the other. I disagree, and I disagree based on fact. So if you would like to discuss that respectfully, please join the panel so we can do that. Okay, so I think everybody knows the mood that I'm in today. Okay, so I would say act accordingly. Hey, Lisa, what's up? What you got for us this morning?
Good morning, Danny and Dannykin. So, people keep, talking about the economy and saying how great it is, and I would just like to offer that just because somebody says something is good and they don't have any facts or data to back it up, that maybe that's not actually the case.
Yeah.
Like, we can all see with our own pocketbooks that the economy is not getting better, improving. But I would like to offer just a few things.
So inflation is steadily creeping up.
Yep.
Because there's always inflation, but also because corporations are greedy. And the personal expenditures, right? Personal consumption, people buying stuff has slowed, right? Which
Yep.
is a very bad indicator of, a not so good economy. And that's due to, the tariff on and off again, and some of them are still on, and people are unsure about what's going on. Private investment has declined between 5 and 25%, depending on what we're talking about, which is really bad.
Yep.
Exports fell by almost 3%, and imports declined by 30%, which will surprise no one. So what does all that mean? It means that all these indicators, especially the net increase of exports, right? It looks like there's a net increase of exports because of how far 30% imports decline. So it's creating like a little GDP growth bubble. So actual numbers, actual GDP growth was about 0.2%.
Yes.
Not 3%. So
Yes.
just sharing that, share a little knowledge with people. The economy is actually not getting better. Sorry.
Right. 100%. And this is the difference between having an opinion based on fiction and fuckery and having an opinion based on facts. That's the difference, folks. And yes, it takes more time to have an opinion that is based on facts. It does. I won't lie. But once you get into the practice of finding the facts, it becomes easier and faster to do so. If you just make it a practice to do that, don't read a headline, read past a headline. Don't just read the article that's after the headline. Click the links and get to the actual source. Look at the daggone data. And guess what? Look at it from about 3 or 4 different sources and compare what they are all saying. That's what you do.
So this data is on BLS.gov. So the federal government.
That's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. That's what she's reading from.
Yes. So that's where the data came from.
Love that. So those. All right. Appreciate you, Lisa, as always. So folks, listen. Forbes put. Oh, damn. Well, Lisa, request back up. Jabber wanted to ask you something. Appreciate you, Candy Kiss. All right. So I wanted to just give you guys a little bit of this so that you all know. So Forbes did an article July 4th, earlier this month. And let me tell you what Forbes said. Trump's policies will cost the United States up to $29 billion as tourists decide they don't want to come here. Right? So top line, here's what it says. While tourism is booming across the rest of the world, the U.S. is a notable loser this year as tens of millions of international visitors are choosing to travel elsewhere, costing the economy up to $29 billion and risking millions of jobs. Right? So here are the key facts from this article. Last month, a study from the World Travel and Tourism Council that analyzed the economic impact of tourism in 184 countries revealed that the U.S. was the only country forecast to see international visitor spending decline in 2025. The World Travel and Tourism Council projects the U.S. to be on track to lose $12.5 billion in international visitor spending this year compared to last year, according to their research. It could be argued, however, that the actual losses, let Dominic in, will be significantly larger, given that tourism economics, which is a division of Oxford Economics, had originally forecasted the U.S. would see a 9% jump in international inbound travel. Right? So if they thought there was going to be a 9% jump in travel, and we now see that it's actually a decline, that jump goes away and the decline that already existed goes away. So a 9% increase would have equated to a boost of about $16.3 billion in revenue. Instead, they have revised its baseline forecast to a year-over-year decline of 8.2%, which is a significant 17.2% variance from the original 9% increase. right? So that would take us from the anticipated $16.3 billion increase in revenue to a loss of between 8.3 billion, which is coming from tourism economics estimates, and the 12.5 billion, which is the WTTC estimate. That means the US is facing a shortfall of 25 to 29 billion dollars with a B this year. So while we talk about how great things are happening and y'all are so busy mad about immigrants and immigration and wanting people to go away, that means people don't want to come here either. Nobody wants the prospect of coming to this country, being rounded up, being told they don't have any rights, being detained somewhere, and then maybe being held three weeks before they're let go back from wherever they're from. Right? Hey, baby, yours is right here. And that's what y'all don't understand. The rest of the world is not trying to fuck with us. Yep, we stand to lose the Olympics. We stand to lose so many things. It's a big deal. And I don't think that some of you all recognize exactly how much America first is about to mean America last and America alone. And alone and last is not where you thrive. I'm going to say that again. Alone and last is not where you thrive. And it will not be the rich. It will not be the elite who suffer. It will be the regular folks like you and I. It will be your neighbors. It will be your teachers. It will be your firefighters. It will be your policemen even. It will be your children. It will be your school systems. Just so that y'all really understand this. The reason my thing says the GOP is corrupt is because they are the ones that are voting through all of these things. They are the ones that are voting this in. So for me, they all are the same now. I don't want to hear a bit of difference. I don't want to hear anything. I just don't. And if you're making an excuse for this administration, you're a nationalist. You're not a patriot. Just letting you know. What's up, Jabber?
What's up?
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing okay. I'm back among the TikTok alive and well.
Love that.
My account is healthy again.
That's great.
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to explain yesterday why I got banned because I have a feeling people might have gotten the wrong idea. I got banned. I was doing a 4-hour live. In fact, I think a few people here showed up early in the morning Eastern time, and I've been going for a few hours. It was just me, very chill, talking about racism and Israel and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then I quoted David Ben-Gurion, and I was using the subtext of something he said from way back when, and that's when they shut me down. Yeah.
That will do it.
I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
And then they sent me the clip, and it was like, for that? And so I had them appeal. I tried to appeal it, and then of course they pulled the old well, we're just not going to check that now.
Yep.
We're just going to, push it off and wait a week. I'm sure they do that here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I got the bump, and I was so bummed because I saw a few of the Danikins pop in. I was like, oh man, now I got banned again. Oh no, it's whatever.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I think when you talk about that, where you just left off is where I was going to kind of pick up because I'm doing a live in about 90 minutes. I don't know if there's still be live. You probably will. So
yeah.
But just FYI for folks, I'm going to be talking about this podcast, starting a series to talk about this podcast master plan, and it's by David Sirota and The Lever.
Mm-hmm.
And it dropped last year, and it's all about the Powell memo and how it was the foundation for Project 2025, and how it's just the whole journey from Watergate and the whole campaign finance reform and dark money, and how they got the Supreme Court to where it is today. And to me, it is such a vital work because it really ties together so much of what's been happening the last 60 years and where we potentially need to go. I, of course, am only one person. I don't have all the solutions, but I do feel like one thing that we could start focusing on that is realistic and legitimate is the National Popular Vote Compact. And I think I've mentioned it maybe once or twice here, but I implore everybody, before you form any opinions about it, just know that they have thought through every single challenge that you think you have to what do you call it? Not eliminating the Electoral College, right, but transforming it into something stronger. And the National Popular Vote Compact is already well on its way. And in an age where we feel so defeated, like there's nothing we can do, and we've got such an uphill battle, I just want you to keep in mind, be open-minded when you go into it. Look up the National Popular Vote. I think it's actually nationalpopularvote.com. But just Google it. Watch the videos. It is very compelling, and they're about 80% of the way there, where they will whatever states can agree within their state legislatures, they agree to sign on to the compact when the yes, I am on YouTube. I'm going to be doing it on YouTube as well. When they sign on, when we reach 270 votes, okay, all those states are locked in to this compact where they will still have their statewide elections. And again, don't take my word for it right now, because I'm not going to do the best job explaining it, because our brains already go to, well, here's why it's not going to work. But we're already 80% there. Okay, Minnesota signed on last year, and there's some great videos explaining the entire process. And there's an 1,100-page book, which you can buy for $5 on Amazon. But why would you do that unless you need something to loft, something on? Or you can get the PDF for free. Okay, Every Vote Equal. Every Vote Equal. And that document has been written for years, and they go through all of the myths that people think are going to be a problem if this happens, and they go in and they debunk every single myth, and they have a little digest version of it, and they go into it in detail. And I think that, and there's one major point that it brings up, and again, just take this for what it's worth, folks, because it's not a full explanation, but part of the result of it is that, and part of our problem, as you all know, is that it's the National Popular Vote, and the book is called Every Vote Equal. One of the problems is that in our electoral process right now, and you'll see it on the video, all of the money is spent. Well over 90% of all the campaigning is done in a handful of districts. Forget states, right? I mean, it is just a few states, but it's also just select districts that all of this money goes into. One of the results of this National Popular Vote Compact is that they will be forced to distribute their money over many different states, and within each state, they're going to have to campaign all over the state. So it's very compelling, and believe me, I'm about as defeatist, as everyone else at certain times, but I do see some light. I know that systemically we are largely screwed by the way that the Supreme Court has been assembled and the entire court system and all that, and gerrymandering, of course, but this is something that could have a powerful impact on the way that our presidential elections are run. And I think it's worth taking a look at, and us starting to develop some kind of just rally around this somewhat. I'm talking a lot, sorry. Anyway, you get my point. National Popular Vote Compact. Master Plan is the podcast, and it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing.
Love that. Appreciate you, Jabber. As always, a wealth of information. I want to, oh my gosh, there's a lot. There's so many people are saying different things in different places. So let me just say this to the folks that are in the comments. There have been several of you that have made this statement. Oh, both sides are bad. Both sides are corrupt. There's not one better than the other. I strongly disagree, and would love to have a respectful, fact-based conversation about that, right? So you are welcome to join this panel at any point in time, and have, have that discussion with me. What I typically find is that those of you who make comments like that don't join this panel. The vast majority of you don't join this panel. And I don't know if it's because we don't debate and argue and scream and call each other names and all of that. I don't know why. And which, if that's what you're into, I'm glad you don't request up. But if you don't have any real intention, of having a productive conversation that might matter, why are you here? Like, why are you anywhere? Just sit the fuck at home and don't say nothing, because this is the part that I don't understand about people. I really don't understand this about grown adults in this country right now. I really don't understand that, because I don't know what has to happen for you to understand that what is happening will have a direct impact on your life. There are very few members of Congress that are going to be touched by what happens. Hear me when I say that. There are going to be very few members of Congress that are negatively impacted by the bills that have happened. Seriously, not a thing. It is you and your loved ones and your families and your all of that. And so this is the part where you have to adult. You have to adult, as tiresome and, mind-boggling as it is. You have to adult politically in this moment at this time. Thanks, Maureen. And so if you were not here, so I want to do a double check. Jabber, did you have anything else before I drop you down, friend?
Yeah, no, I was going to just say drop me, but yeah, I have one last thing.
Yeah.
Just on what Lisa was saying earlier, also when people talk about the economy, and I'm not an economics wizard, I guarantee you there's probably several hundred people here who know a lot more about economics than I do. But what I've come to realize is that the way people assess the economy, you see somebody talking it on TV, you're talking to your friend, you're talking to this, you're talking to that. Doesn't matter how good they make it sound or how confident they make it sound. Everybody's looking at the health. Most people are looking at the health of the economy through their own lens.
Yeah.
So for different industries at different times. I mean, COVID was a great example, right? Terrible, quote unquote, terrible economy during COVID, and yet who still made a lot of money? Rich white people made a lot of money.
100%.
So
shit ton.
Anyway.
And got given a lot of money.
Exactly. It's given. Exactly. They were given a lot of money. Yeah.
Yes, they were given
anyway,
a ton.
I hope to see some of you at 11 Pacific, 2 Eastern, and if not, that's cool too.
All right.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, Jabber.
Bye.
So for those of you all who I will be on until probably about 3:30 today, because we have a lot to talk about. So let me just tell you what the signs are right now that we have an economy that is slowing down. Okay. The rate of job growth is slowing down. I just had my other deal pulled up a second ago. Jeez, where did it go? Inflation is up to 2.67% compared to 2.35%. Right. So inflation is rising. Jobs are slowing down. Consumer spending is down. Americans are spending less. When we spend less, that is a key driver to the economy. And by the way, while y'all are busy, like, get them immigrants up out of here, their revenue losses are significant to our economy. If you do not understand that immigrants are a net positive in this country and their spending has a lot to do with our economy, I don't know what to tell you. It's not just that they work. It's not just that they feed us or whatever, because they do a ton of other things. right? But if you all do not get that immigration spending is a big deal. Oh yeah, they $96.7 billion is what they paid in taxes in 2022. Local, state, and federal taxes. It matters, folks. Other things. There is an increase, get this, y'all, in credit card debt and late payments. This indicates that consumers are relying more on borrowing to maintain their spending levels. In the first quarter of this year, there was a 0.2% contraction in GDP, even though the second quarter had a 3% unexpected bump. There's a reason for that. Lisa just told you about it. The trade wars, the Federal Reserve's interest rates, all of those things are causing issues. And I just went over the significant loss of $25 to $29 billion in tourism revenue that we are facing as a country. That's a big deal. And it's a hard line. Something is sticking me in my chair. Okay. So I want to stop for just a second, and I want to talk about the vote last night. Okay. The only two Republicans to have a backbone when it comes to Emil Bovee Senate confirmation hearing last night was Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins. They are the only two that voted no. Now, if you are here and you are a Republican, if you are a Trump supporter, and you support the nomination and the confirmation of Emil Bovee, however you say his name, I would love for you to put a 1 in the comments, because I would like to have a real conversation about this. If you have no idea who he is or why this is a big deal, put a 2 in the comments. That would be helpful. What's up, Nance? Hey, Thomas. Hey, Michael. Why don't you do me a favor and join my panel? You have over 1,800 followers. I would love to have a conversation with you about your comment. Okay. So I get a lot of 2s. And this is when I get mad at the media. Hey, Michael, don't spam my comments. I read what you said once. I've now read what you said twice. Okay. So this is where you need to join the panel and have a conversation, or find something else to type in the comments. What's wrong? Right, Sandra, that part. Okay. So let me just go over a little bit about who Emil is and why this is. So the instructions were the senators. Oh, good Lord. Yes, Keith Jones, it definitely is. Let me see. Those senators have a deal. It's a false flag. They vote no after they know it will pass. Let me just say this. I don't give a shit about a deal or a flag or a whatever. I literally don't care. What I care about is the fact that it passed. That's all I care about. And I care about holding the people who voted for it accountable. That's what I care about. I don't care why they voted yes. I don't care what they knew about. I don't care if there was a deal. I care about if they voted to confirm him. All right. So Emil Bovee is the principal deputy assistant attorney general of the Department of Justice. That's such a weird question. Hey, Alan, I invited you to come up to the panel. For those of y'all who aren't on TikTok, Alan asked me, is my content based off facts or feelings? Yes. Tell you what, baby. When I'm done? Yeah, baby. Absolutely. Sure. Hey, Alan. Good afternoon. How are you? Alan? Alan? Mm. Okay, he's teacupping. Teacupping. I don't know what he's doing. I'm just going to mute for now. Hold on. I have no idea which. I have no idea. Yeah, must be new here. Okay, he's gone. All right. So let me just say this. I want to talk about oh, the trolls are here today. It's okay. So let me back up. We need to talk about who Emil is and why it matters. Okay. And that's going to take a second. First of all, he used to be Donald Trump's personal criminal defense attorney, one of them. That matters to me. It matters to me that there's a personal relationship between the president of the United States and the attorney that is now being nominated to a lifetime appointment. Okay. As a federal appellate judge. The second thing that people need to know is that this nomination occurred directly after two very important things. Okay. Right. Dr. Jack, it should have been blocked. So let me just say this. The very first problem that we had this year with Emil is that January 31st, he had a meeting with members of the Southern District of New York's Attorney General's office, Danielle Sassoon, who was the Attorney General at the time, and the other people that were at that meeting was the counsel, the lawyers for New York City Mayor Eric Adams. So, how many of you all are familiar with Eric Adams and the charges that were levied against him last fall? Urban, don't spam my comments, please. Well, just gonna be busy taking out the trash today. You guys are familiar. What about you guys over here? Facebook, YouTube, Substack. How many of you all are familiar with New York City Eric Adams and the corruption charges that were filed against him last fall? You are, thanks to me. I love that. You're Jersey, Karen, so of course you know. Okay. So Mayor Eric Adams was indicted on federal corruption charges based on bribery, taking illegal campaign contributions, including and from foreign entities. And so these charges were filed. Now, let me just say this, because there was a primary that was due to take place in May of this year. What the Southern District of New York's Attorney General's office did was they went through a specific process. There is a public integrity office process. If you are going to file charges against a political figure and there is an election coming up, you have to be mindful of how close that election is and any impact that it may or may not have on the election. And so what they did was they went through that entire process. They had the case reviewed, and they were given a green go signal to file those charges because they were being filed more than 9 months prior to the primary, much less the actual general election, right? So they had dotted their I's and crossed their T's to ensure that these charges were being filed in a manner that that was clean and clear and fair. And then what happened is those charges were actually handed down. He was indicted by a grand jury. So what does that mean? That means that the attorney's office didn't just randomly decide to file the charges. Nope, they conducted a grand jury. They put the evidence before the grand jury, and the grand jury said, absolutely, indict his ass. We believe the evidence, and there's enough for this to go to trial. So that is what happened. Okay. Now, on January 31st, Emil Bovee had a meeting with the lawyers for Eric Adams. And in that Adams, he had members of the Southern District of New York Attorney General's office, the people that are actually prosecuting that case. And in that meeting, he suggested to the Southern District of New York's Attorney General's office to drop the charges, to dismiss the charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams, so that he would be able to participate with the Trump administration's immigration policies and the mass deportation of immigrants in New York City. So what is that called, folks? That is called a quid pro quo. It's illegal. In that conversation, he says to them, and listen, he didn't just say it in that conversation, he put it in writing. He put it in a memo directly to the Attorney General's office of the Southern District of New York and said, dismiss those charges, right? Because first they tried to say, well, we're not sure that these were done correctly, even though they were done with a grand jury, even though they were done through a review with the Public Integrity Office, all of those things, right? And then he said, also, these charges hinder Eric Adams' ability to participate with the Trump administration's mass deportation in New York. That's what he said. Can I just, oh, bless it, Jesus. Okay. I'm just like that. I'm not even wasting my breath today. Tesla's no longer in the chat, right? Tesla party is no longer in the chat. Hey, CK, I gave you an invitation to join the panel so we can discuss your comment. I hope that you will join the panel. Everybody else who has said what you just said has been unwilling to join the panel, and I hope that you aren't like them. Because I'm just over keyboard warriors that want to say things in the comments but aren't willing to get on a panel and have a real conversation about it. So, CK Traveler. I'm talking to you. You are the person. This is what gets me. It's almost always I'm sorry to say it the way that I'm saying it. No, I'm not. I'm lying. I am not sorry to. Well, I don't care. You can talk on a plane. You can talk on a plane. People do it all the time. Nobody's requiring you to like get on camera or scream. You can talk on a plane. People do it all the time. And hell, make good use of that Wi-Fi. Shit, if you are on a plane and on TikTok, you paid for that Wi-Fi. Go ahead. You paid for that Wi-Fi. Come on, make the good use of it. I don't care. I don't need your flight information. Use that Wi-Fi. No, I was going to say raggedy ass cat this time. I got a little thing. I'm just being honest. Okay. That's what I was going to say. I'm just being, that's what I was going to say. Yes, a curious mind. Okay, so listen, folks. So I agree with you, Sandra. I believe Eric Adams was guilty as fuck. I agree. However, here's what happened. I'm going to read the actual memo that came from Emil Bove. And because there was the memo, y'all know I got a lot of files up in here because I give y'all a lot of information. Give me 1 second. I need documents. June via downloads. Good gosh. Bove letter, Bove nomination letter, DOJ Eric Adams memo. Yes, here it is. So remember I told you all that the meeting was on January the 31st, right? So February 10th, here's what happened. Mad Maximus, you said so the DOJ was good under Biden. The DOJ was slow as fuck under Joe Biden, but they weren't corrupt under Joe Biden. And there's a distinct difference. If you need me to expound upon that, what that is, feel free to join the panel. Okay? Feel free to do that. Good afternoon, Kenny G. What you got for me?
I mean, just like that, the comment that you just read about the guy asking, so the DOJ under Biden, I think that one of the fundamental problem that we're going to have here to ever get out of this is that on the left, like, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure it's true for you and most of the people like, if Joe Biden or Barack Obama or some of these people did stuff that even resembled what we're seeing on the right, the people, like, I would say, okay, if you find out right now that Barack Obama did something that they're claiming that he did, I would absolutely acknowledge it and say that he needs to be punished for whatever that would be that we know that he didn't do. But we're dealing with people who can look at Donald Trump and look at Barack Obama, and they think that Barack Obama is the bad one.
Yes.
So how do you ever fix that?
So, well, it takes a lot of patience and tough fact-based conversation that, and for me, it has to include 4 things. When I enter conversations with Trump supporters, even when we vehemently disagree, I make sure that I bring 4 things to the conversation. Those 4 things are always compassion, authenticity, respect, and vulnerability. And the reason why I bring those things into the conversation is because without them, it's an impossible task. If I am not willing to be vulnerable, if I am not able to find compassion for them, it doesn't matter what they say. I'm just going to be pissed off at them, right? If we don't have a basic level of respect, right, then it goes nowhere, because you have to build anything on respect, right? And it just gets built on that. And then authenticity. I say this all the time in every workshop that I do. I talk about, and this is what I tell people: people have to know how much you care before they care how much you know. I can argue with somebody, or I can tell them fact after fact after fact. But if they don't believe the reason I'm sharing it with them is because I truly care about them, they're most likely not going to hear me. Right? And so what has happened in this space plenty of times, like, I don't know if you follow me frequently or not, but if you don't, you can go to my podcast. It's The Danny Cook Show, right? There are several episodes, and I even put like a series of one up on my TikTok, but you can actually hear me do this with serious Trump supporters. Sherry, are you in here today? She was here yesterday. So Sherry is one of the last, like, for real MAGAs that came up on the panel with me. It's probably been like a month or so ago. And she was, listen, when I tell you, Kenny G, it started out rough. We were very passionate. Let me say it that way. And it was rah, 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 right? And to the degree that even in that conversation, at one point, I called her a bigot, not because I was calling her a name, but it's because what she said, I don't care if they've done anything wrong or not. I don't want them following me to the bathroom. And I said, oh, so you just want to be a bigot? And she was like, no. And I said, well, no, that's what a bigot is. Like, if you just dislike someone based on who they are, not what they've done or haven't done, then that is the definition of a bigot. And she got really defensive. And I said, you're upset right now, Sherry, because you have demonstrated who you are and you don't like the fact that I addressed it. And do you know that by the end of that conversation, we actually built connection? By the end of that conversation, she was saying to me, I need to have I have an opinion, but I need to have a more open mind. She has come back here all the time. She has said, I look for you now. I appreciate you. She's part of my following now. And, it took a 45-minute conversation. Most people aren't willing to spend, but listen, these folks have been given misinformation for 10 damn years. He's been running since 2015. Right? So we have to be willing to put in the work, and we are a microwave society. We want everything to happen just like that. And it's not going to.
I've ended up on a lot of lives, like the MAGA lives, and I see what you're saying about being compassionate and stuff, and a lot of the times I'll start out, saying, hey, listen, I'm not saying, like, I really believe that the reason why we've gotten here is because the people on that side and the people on our side have actually been robbed and abused in the same manner, and everybody understands that our country is very wasteful. The money is not directed where it really needs to be, and that there are certain people that benefit, and it's not the middle class, it's not the lower class. And as our quality of life for decades has been going down and down and down, that a very small concentration of people up at the top, in the middle of the top, and the top of the top have been benefiting immensely. So when people talk about the stock market, when people talk about the economy, when people talk about trade and all of these great deals and stuff, the truth is, in a lot of ways, it doesn't make one difference to any of us. We still get up and go to our mundane, mediocre jobs, make not enough money, borrow and to get just the bare minimum. We put off things, personal health, vacations.
There she is. Hey, Sherry.
And we get nowhere. You know what I mean? And the problem is that when you give massive tax breaks to the wealthy, and the tax surplus disappears, and we start running in a deficit, and the people that were making money before are still making money, and the people that aren't, we're covering the cost, and they just can't understand that. That's why it was so funny how Bernie Sanders, people who liked Bernie Sanders back in 2015, 2016, they also liked Trump. So you would look at people and go, how far apart could they be? But they were kind of saying the same thing, like, hey, you people are all being screwed over, but we disagree who's doing the screwing over. They think that it's poor people, and that it's immigrants, and that it's people of color, and that it's foreigners and foreign nations and stuff. And they can't look at it and go, every company that left to go overseas chose to go overseas.
Right.
They're never going to choose to come back. They'll make less money if they come back. They'll sell less product if they come back. China did not steal our jobs. We exploited China to make more money over here for some people at the cost of the masses, and they just can't understand it. Nobody wants to pay $400 for a pair of Levi's dungarees these days, and that's what it's going to cost if I have to go work in a jean factory. You know what I mean? Like none of those jobs are coming back. But when you give them innovation, when you go, hey, look how good we can do with solar. Hey, look how good we can do with wind. Hey, we can use hydro technology. We can use hydrogen fuel cells. We can lead the world into the next phase of humanity with electric and hybrids and all of this stuff. They go, nope, we want to pump oil out of the ground, even though every scientist on earth thinks that that's going to ruin us to even be able to inhabit this place. And we've thrown out science. You know what I mean? We're trying to insert religion into something that clearly constitutionally says it doesn't belong there. Now they're trying to put Bibles back in schools and all this stuff. It's such a backwards world. And I feel so hopeless that anybody will ever understand that on that side. All they do is turn on their Fox News, they or One American Network, or all these crappier lying TV shows. You know, I've had people in my own family in Massachusetts, blue collar Massachusetts. I've had my own family, my uncle, my stepfather. That's all they do is watch Fox News and get mad at people like themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know.
So let me say this. So I hear you. Things that we have to be careful about doing is blanketing them all into a particular group. We have to stop doing that because they are not all the same. And I talked about this with Lev Parnas back before the election when I still had Twitter. And he and I happened to be on the same live at the time. And we talked about the different factions, if you will, of Trump supporters, because they are different factions. They're not all the same. So the first faction of Trump supporters are the really, really rich, greedy, hungry, corporate executive, those folks, right? And so that's the one group. And they don't give a shit about anything except, am I going to make more money? Period. They are supporting Donald Trump because he will do crazy shit like play with the market so they can make $200 million in a day. He will do those types of things, right? So that's one group of people. And then there's another group of people that are Christian nationalists. And those people want their Christianity in our government. They want it in our school systems. They want it in our legislation. They want Christianity to be the kind of law of the land, even though we have clear documentation in the Federalist Papers, in the a memorial and a remonstrance. Like, we have plenty of evidence that is not what the founding fathers intended, and it should not be so, right?
Even though they also don't want the most devout Christians who are crossing the southern border in this country either, that are much more religious than people in this country. You know what I mean?
Well, that's because they think brown people means Muslim. So just saying, a lot of them don't know that many Hispanics, Mexicans, Latin individuals are not only Christians, many of them are Catholic. And so they just don't know that. There's a lack of awareness and knowledge. And that oftentimes comes from a lot of different places. But so then you have the Christian nationalists, and then you have the third group of people, which are the white nationalists. And sometimes those two folks they all intersect along with the rich people, right? So you have really, really rich people, then you've got Christian nationalists, then you've got white nationalists, and then you've got everybody else, right? And so typically those tend to be the less formally schooled, because I'm not going to say they're less educated, because they're not. If you've ever talked to a hillbilly in the Appalachian Mountains, they can tell you a whole lot of shit. You ever talk to a farmer about agriculture in Wisconsin or Michigan, they can tell you they know about PFAS more than just as much as the damn scientists do, right? So they're not ignorant. They're not stupid. They know what they know based on what they need to live, which is the majority of us. Okay. So what I will say is that some of them don't have the same type of education, the most common forms of education, right? But they're not dumb by any means. Okay. And so you've got that group of those group of people. And those group of people know that they are struggling. And it is always easier to blame someone else than look at your community and blame someone where you already have bias, blame someone where you may already have prejudgment, because that's what prejudice is, than to really dig in and figure out, okay, so what is this mess and why is it coming, right? Why is this happening? Yeah. So for those of y'all who do not know, I am from Northeast Tennessee. Where I'm from, everybody talks like this. And it ain't because they're dumb. They're not dumb. Listen, they know a whole lot about what they need to know around the way, but they haven't traveled. They haven't traveled to Europe. They haven't traveled to, some of them have never been to Florida. They've never been outside of their state. Where I'm from, a lot of people, the furthest they've gone is damn Dollywood, right? And Pigeon Forge. That's vacation every damn year. But it's not that they're dumb. What they are is very simple and trusting. And they want to be able to take people at their word. And there are people that exploit that. People like Rusty Crowe, people like Bud Halsey, people like John Crawford, people like Timothy Hill, people like Gary Hicks. I can name all of them from back home, and they know that I will name them all damn day. But so this is the feel. And so people go, oh, well, I listen, my papa went to school with Rusty's daddy, right? And we went cow tipping together. So, he knows what we need around here. There's this mindset, especially in small towns and rural communities, that they don't like outsiders. Okay. Which I hate to tell y'all this, rural communities and inner cities are damn near exactly the same in how y'all behave. You ready? Neither one of you like outsiders, inner cities or rural communities, right? Both of you don't see a damn politician until they want your vote. Both of your communities are underfunded. Your schools are underfunded. You have a lack of transportation. Your housing is unaffordable. Your education systems are lacking. You can't attract the best doctors. Come on, this is exactly the same thing, but I'm now talking about inner city.
Talking about health-wise, the life expectancy is similar. There's a lot of similarities.
There's a ton of similarities there, a ton. And people don't realize we are a food deserts. The same shit is there. And this is what folks don't get right. Neither like the cops too much. True story, right? But we're not talking about our similarities. We are believing the bullshit. So did y'all know that New York City, did y'all know this? New York City is about to have its lowest crime record in 75 years. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, some of the other cities around here too. I know Providence has only had like one fatal, whatever.
Pew pew.
Year,
Yep.
6 months. Yeah, 6 months in, and usually there's like 3,000 times that or something like that.
Yeah. So hold on a second. I have to pull this up for y'all because when I saw it, I said, "Fuck yeah, I love good data, right? I love good data." Lowest in 75 years. That's it's approaching. I saw this the other day. Yep. So the New York Police Department in 2025, they are saying that it will be a 75-year low, specifically focusing on pews and unalivings of other people. Right now, what's so interesting about that is when Donald Trump talks about why you need to get rid of the immigrants in New York City, he literally said because they're raising the crime rates. No, the fuck they ain't. Right. And that's what people don't understand. And so you have to be able to have conversations. Now, here's what happens, Kenny G, when I'm talking to people who are Trump supporters, who are small town, who are whatever, when I talk to them the way that I just talked to you and I point out the similarities that we have, they start to agree with me. Yeah, that's what we have around here. Yeah, we don't attract good doctors. And yeah, I mean, we can't get the best. And yeah, our schools are underfunded. And yeah, we don't have this. And when I point out that it's the same, then they're starting to agree. Yep, we've got the same issues. This is what happened with Sherry and I. As soon as I talked about her, she came up in here. So Sherry and I are going back and forth, and she is absolutely swearing to me that they are indoctrinating children in school to be trans, right? And I said, Sherry, no, they are not. Right? So here's what happened. I finally got frustrated and I said, Sherry, listen, I've got 3 grandchildren here. They are in school. And I called my grandson out and I said, Dominic, come here. I said, you do not have to go on camera. He's going into middle school this year. And I said, just come here so that you can answer these questions and people can hear you. And I asked him, hey, are any of your school counselors asking you if you're gay or if you're trans? And he said, no. And I said, do any of your school teachers or your counselors ask you about that? And he was like, no. And I said, do any of your friends tell you that they've got teachers or counselors asking them about being gay? He's 11 and a half. He's about to be 12. And he's like, no. And I said, so what do they talk to you about? And he was like, regular school stuff, like, I don't know, like math and and he's talking, right? And I said, so nobody's asking you about putting litter boxes in your classrooms? And he looked at me like I was crazy, right? But that was the first time. And I said, see what I'm saying, Sherry? And I said, I bet you money that you and I want the same things. And I said, watch this. Let's see. And I said, Sherry, I said, so Sherry, let me ask you this. Do you believe that every one of your neighbors should have access to safe, affordable, quality health care? And she said, yeah. And I said, me too. Do you think that schools should teach accurate history, even if it's unpleasant, so that we learn not to repeat it? And she said, yeah. I said, me too. Do you believe that people should be able to, and I just went through a series of those things. We even got to agree on the Second Amendment. Can you believe that? In that conversation, I said, Sherry, I said, listen, do you want, because she was like, well, yeah, but I think we should have the right to bear arms. I said, me too. I'm a veteran. And I said, but let me ask you a question. I said, do you want to know how I know for sure that we can have an assault weapon ban and still protect the Second Amendment? And she said, how? And I said, because we've already had one. We had one for 10 years, from 1994 to 2004. We had an assault weapons ban. And everybody still owned their pew-pews.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, right. And now she's here damn near every time I'm live. But that we had to get to this place where she knew I wasn't judging her or belittling her, but I wanted her to understand that we all want the same things. It is the rich who do not want us to know that we want the same thing. It's them. It is them. So yeah.
On the lowest levels, they understand things like that, and then when you get up, like when you start talking about the rich and how much money they make, like they always come out and go, well, we pay 37 point something % in taxes, and that's more than like all the middle class, so we already pay more taxes. And I go, well, when you actually have to register how much of the money how much of the gross earnings in the whole entire nation are done by you, it's closer to like 80 or 90%. So why are you not paying 80 or 90% of the taxes? Because if all of the money, if 90% of the money is being made by somebody, then they should be paying taxes on 90% of that money. So why are you paying 37%? And I'm not saying like each individual person needs to pay 90%. I'm
Right.
saying that why on all of the money earned, that part that funnels to the top, that equals 90% of the money. So why does it not equal 90% of the taxes? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
of all of those loopholes.
So
The other thing, all the subsidies, like I come from Massachusetts. So last year they always, in my state, the Trumpers bitch about Warren Healy. They bitch about all of the people over here. But the truth is that year after year, we have a surplus in our budget that's billions of dollars. We put more money into the system than we take out in subsidies and stuff like that. So I don't know. To me, it always seems like the blue states as a whole, I'm not saying every one of them, but the model ends up working better than whatever's going on. I've driven all over this country. I've driven from Massachusetts to New Mexico, to Juarez, Mexico, to Denver, Colorado, to Provo, Utah, to Tennessee, to New Orleans, to Florida a bunch of times. And, it seemed like a lot of the country is crumbling at the bones, and nobody sees a problem with that. We want to beat our chest and say we're the wealthiest country in the history of the world. We're the economic powerhouse of the world. But when it comes to where we live every day, it doesn't look like that, because I see a bunch of outdated airports, a bunch of crumbling bridges and highways. We don't have high-speed rail. We're lagging in all of the technology that's pushing into the 21st century, except for AI, maybe. Like other than that, I mean, I don't know. I don't see like the, you know what we're like. We're like Muhammad Ali in 1981 when he was fighting Larry Holmes, trying to still be Muhammad Ali of 1967. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So can I offer you something?
Yeah.
Verbiage is so important, right?
Right.
And so as soon as I finished all that whole thing was, yeah, they understand when you get to the low things like that. For anyone from a small town, from who has been a Republican or Trump supporter, they hear that comment. Oh, yeah, they understand when you put it when you're talking about those things like that. That's going to sound mean for it too. And
Yeah, I think I didn't deliver it properly when I was trying to say like I meant on a local level, but when you go into the macro version of like the same statistical things that like what you see, it's a lot easier to see that a massive amounts of cash than small, like localized government. I don't know, I'm not explaining myself right here, but local government is probably what affects us the most, right? Our small towns, our school boards, and and all of that stuff, and that's kind of like politics working at the everybody, and if you want to participate, everybody can, and if you choose not to, you're kind of living in the dark. And
Mila, stop.
You have a lot of on different things. So when school teachers are being laid off in your town or whatever, but it comes to like the country as a whole, and you start talking about a $4.5 trillion budget. It like, I didn't mean like the less important things. I meant the smaller. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand. I was as a mindfulness thing. So and let me just say this, folks. So when yeah, no, you're good. On YouTube and Substack and Facebook, it looks like there's an internet issue or a connection issue. So hopefully that will fix itself in a minute, but we'll just see. If not, we're just going to keep the way we do. So, oh yeah, it really is. It is having issues, major issues. Okay. I think the thing, well, so Renee, when you say it sounds great in theory, as I am very simple, do truly want to save democracy in this country?